Hey, what's up, everybody? It's the morning of December 20. What is it? The 23rd? It is the 23rd. December 23rd. We are rapidly approaching the end of the year. 2024 is going to be an awesome year. I am bringing you the morning show with Mikey and or the morning audio show mass with Mikey, your morning mass. Anyways, today I am going to talk to you guys about analysis paralysis. Okay, what is analysis paralysis and why you don't want it? Okay, analysis paralysis means that when you go into your audio system and you're listening to music, that you are always listening to how things sound. Okay, which means if you're in analysis, you're not connecting with the music because you are critiquing or analyzing how the sound is. Is it have enough of this? Does it have enough of this? Is it real enough? Does it feel live? Does it, whatever. You're in an analysis mode, okay? To me, that is horrible. Now, I thought the analysis was going to be something that was always there forever. I thought this is part of being an audiophile. I'm going to always be analyzing. When I crossed the line and I was able to transcend analysis, I was so grateful. I was so thankful. I was like, oh my God, this is like a dream. I can actually just sit here and totally enjoy the music and get into it and not have to analyze the sound because the sound is totally dialed. It's totally figured. I don't need to even think about it anymore. Huge, huge, huge relief. Okay. This is what I provide for people. And this is what I talk about. And the only reason I pitch it and why I provide it is because I've achieved it for myself. I know how to do it for you guys. I've been able to do it. I did it at the show. I'm able to reproduce on many different levels the experience of connecting with the music. And it took me 24 odd years to figure out how to do this and what it means of figuring it all out, man. And I can bring it to the people and bring it to you guys and gals. But analysis paralysis is listening to things, how they sound all the time. It's such a drag. It's such a bummer. I mean, when you go to the shows and when you first get a new system and whatever, you go listening to how it sounds is the fun part because it's shiny. It's like looking at a shiny piece of metal or something like that, a coin, or something. After a while, that fades, after a while of, novel new sound, it gets old, okay? And then you really, what you came for was to connect to the music. You didn't come for just to trip out on the sound. Maybe some of you did come to trip out on the sound, and if you want to do that, all the power to you, go for it. I'm talking to music people and people that buy their systems in order to have a more meaningful connection to music, because that's what a hi-fi system can do. So not being able to connect on any meaningful level with the music, that's how you know. How do you know if you have analysis paralysis? Because you will not have any meaningful musical revelations whatsoever. You're going to know that you're stuck in analysis paralysis because your listening experience will only be consist of regurgitating the same songs over and over again and listening for changes in the rig. Okay, so that's how you'll know that you're stuck in analysis paralysis. You'll have your favorite 5 songs, a playlist, maybe a stack of CDs if you listen to CDs, and you'll listen to the same shit over. You won't even listen to full songs. You'll listen to parts of songs. Now, what I'm describing to you is okay to use when you're setting things up because you need to know where the system's at. But once you get it set, if you are always in the analysis setting things up mode, you're not there, and you need to get out of that, man. That is a temporary thing where you use little bits of songs to figure out how things sound. Is there too much sibilance on this? Is there not enough impact viscerally? Whatever. That is setup technique. That is not your listening or enjoyment technique. That is very much a pain in the ass, and it is very much anxiety because you're trying to get something accomplished and you haven't gotten your goal yet. So those tools of listening to little bits of the music, that's not how you listen to music, okay? That is how you tune the rig. And when you listen to music, it's something completely different. It doesn't consist of trying different bits of different songs. So what do you need to do in your audio system to not get stuck in that? Because I know many of you listening to me right now go, holy shit, that's exactly how I listen. All I do is listen to a little bit of Diana Krall, and then I listen to a little bit of this orchestral music, and then I listen to, Cosmic Hippo, or I listen to Boz Scaggs for bass, and that's all my listening is listening to these same little bits of music. I know you're out there, and when you're listening to me right now, you know who you are. And it sucks, doesn't it, man? Don't you want to enjoy a whole bunch of learn about new music, explore, and just enjoy the freaking music and forget about how it sounds? Well, let me tell you how it's done. And again, here's why you listen to Mikey, because I give you the 411. I give you the goods. I'm not afraid. I don't charge you for it. Here's what you need to do. First of all, you need to have a comfortable room. Make your listening room something where it is comfortable, where there's not stress. What does that mean? If you're sharing that room with the rest of the family, make sure it's something that blends with the family. If you need to, or if it, what I recommend, it's not even if you need to, but I recommend involving your significant others. If you have kids, involve the kids. Let the kids, if they're not into it, who cares? But if they want to, listen to music, teach them about music, teach them the importance of music. It's like teaching your kid about art. When kids are little, man, you want to teach them about art and music. If you don't, their lives have a chance of being devoid of some of the greatest things of the greatest points of human creation, right? So you want to give them a full life. So bring the kids into the music, let them listen if they want to, or if you just make them, whatever. Bring your wife. If you're a guy and your wife, play her music, man. Include people. Don't just listen to your damn music, your damn things that you tune to the radio with. Play her music, even if it's freaking Madonna or whatever. Who cares? Play it for her, and bring everybody. If the kids want to hear Barney or whatever, play it for them on your rig, man. They'll love it. Okay. So if you want it to be unstressed, in other words, the whole reason for what I just said is so that you're not sitting in your living room and you're playing music and other people are leaving the room to not hear it, or they're upset, or you have to tell people to leave. Make it inclusive, right? This is about fun, not stress. It's about doing this with other people, right? So make sure the room is comfortable. Okay, that's this point is get a comfortable room. Now, if you have your own man cave or your own listening room, you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. Now, I'm going to stop everybody right now, and I'm going to say, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel. If you haven't done it, please do it, because it helps me know that I'm doing the right thing. I give you guys my time, and the support that I receive is seeing those numbers click up, seeing the thumbs up, seeing my subscription numbers. I monitor them every day. And when I see them going on a nice rise, it motivates me. That's what motivates me to keep doing these things, is I know that everybody's with me, right? So please give me a thumbs up, give me a subscription. I really appreciate that. Go to 11 Stereo. I sell hi-fi gear. The reason I do this is to earn your business, okay? So please go to 11stereo.com and just check out the experience, okay? It's always growing. I'm adding new things. There's a lot of great features there, okay? So thanks for everybody's support. What else do you need to do to not get stuck in analysis paralysis? You need to first make the room comfortable. Now, I'm going to give you some things to listen for, how to know what constitutes an audio rig that is going to give you the connection to the music. What do you need to have to lose the analysis paralysis? Here's are some of the features that you need to have in your rig. One of them needs to be presence, okay? Presence equals immediacy. The presence is how present is something. How real is it? How much does it sound like it's right here? Now, presence is a double-edged sword. Presence is a very fine line between realism and immediacy and aggressiveness, okay? So you can overdo presence easily, and it's commonly overdone. Presence, if I'm trying to give you an example of presence, is when you hear a cymbal hit, okay? And what song can I think of? Stranglehold by Ted Nugent has great cymbal in it. Pink Floyd, Hey You has some a great ride cymbal part. You need to hear the tick of the string of the stick, and then the build of the cymbal, the build, and then the fade and the trails of it. So it's a complex sound. It's not just a smash, a splash sound, unless of course you're using a splash cymbal, right? But if you're using a ride has a very developed sound. It's a tick, and then a swell, and then a fade and a trail. So you need to hear that tick, Okay, that's the key to presence. Listen for the tick on the cymbal, that first hit of the string, the tick, the attack, that's the tick, okay? And then a shimmer. It should sound like metal. It should have a very distinct shimmer of that cymbal. You need to hear the shimmer on the top end. You'll hear people talk about shimmer. Shimmer is presence, okay? Listen to air. Presence also is, especially a female vocal, hearing the air in her voice when she's singing the part along with the tonality of the vocal, okay? So you hear that air. It sounds like, it's a high frequency thing. A good example is Freya Riding. Freya Ridings, okay? Freyaridings. Song is Without You, okay? There's going to be much air from her voice. It's going to be dead nut center, and it is going to have a big reverb on it, which means it's going to sound like she's in a station, a train station, because she's singing about standing on the train platform waiting for you, or without you, you're leaving. So that, whatever it's a love song, a sad love song. Okay. So you're going to hear tons of air. You're going to hear the size of the room. Okay. You need to be able to hear the size of the room that they're portraying, because it's part of this visual picture that is being depicted by the music. Music is very visual when it gets good, right? When the system is good, it's like painting a big, you hear me talk about the storybook. It's very three-dimensional. It's very visual. You should get a visual. You need to understand the space that the person is in. And in this example, she is in a train station. So it's very open. There's very much reverb. And you can hear the grandiose nature of the building that she's in, right? So you will hear the air on her voice, and you will hear the trail. You will hear the echo of her voice in such a big space. You will hear that fade out. So her voice, when she stops the vocal, you'll hear it trail and fade and get softer. So you should be able to hear all that. You should be able to hear the trail of her vocal behind her voice when she stops, okay? So listen to that song. Listen to that song and listen for the air. When we say listen for the air, you need to be able to hear that which is not music. You need to be able to hear that which is it's not music. I guess it is sound, because it's decay of music. There's other sonic features. You should be able to hear silence. Now that's a weird one, huh? Let's all drop acid and try and hear silence. But you can hear silence, right? You can hear the blackness in between the things that are music. So part of a great audio system is to be able to hear that which is not music, okay? So that is a part of connecting. What is another characteristic of a killer rig? Tonality, okay? Usually tonality is found in the mid bass. Bass guitar should be musical. It should have tone. It should have variations in musical harmonic to it. Not just a thumpy one-note bass. In a cheap system, boombox, whatever, your bass is going to be boom, 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 boom. It's just going to sound like one-note bass. You hear that? You'll hear that term in hi-fi terms. One-note bass. Okay, you don't want single-note bass. You want tonal bass. Boom, 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 boom. Whatever the bass line is. Boom, 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 boom. But listen to old funk, and you'll get some bass lines, right? There's many different songs, but you should hear the tonality, what note it is. Even though it's low frequency, there should be musicality to that low frequency. So tonality is something that you want to hear. Here's a good one for you, organic texture, okay? This is one that also gets into the, we just dosed, and, let's listen for organic texture. This is very much part of synthesia, which, if you know that term, you know what that means. That means when music has colors, okay? Music very much does have colors and tones and overtones. Just like a visual piece of art, music has similar characteristics. So with organic texture, you're going to be listening for variations or shades of sonic color in earth tones. You're going to be, it will be like the forest greens, not just freaking lime green or Kelly green and fire engine red. It's like the forest greens and the maybe mahoganies, the raw mahogany color, right? Sunlight rays bleeding through autumn leaves. and the different variations of brown and tan of that leaf and into yellow and maybe some reds. That's variation in tonal color, okay, and variation in organic texture. You can hear things that are harder or softer. It gives you a texture. This is a very visual thing. You hear it, but you're visualizing it. It's not black and white, okay? Cheap systems will be like black and white. There's bass, there's treble, and maybe you have gray in the middle, mid-range, you know? Good systems have tonal density. They have 18 million different shades of color, right? It's not just black, white, and gray. It is many different colors in between. It is the humanness of the music. This is typically not found that much with dance music. It's more so in the acoustic musics where you can hear these variations. When somebody's playing an acoustic guitar, you should hear the wood. You should be able to visually see that wood. And you see the wood grain, man. You can see, you can feel, you can see the wood grain. It's a visual thing. That is organic texture. The music is going to become more natural for you. It's going to be more organic and natural and real and tangible for you. The next point that you want in a rig that is not an analysis paralysis, because analysis is a drag. Analysis is used to sell systems when you go into the dealer, the brick and mortar. He needs to use that to make a person that doesn't know about hi-fi that much want to buy something. Okay, so that's a sales tool. It's like cranking up the contrast on the TVs when you go into the TV store. It's a sales tool, but when you get home, it's too much for your eyes. It's the same with the sound. You can't listen to it like that. So again, the organic texture I tell you about. What else do you want? You want visceral impact. This comes with dynamics and punch. You want something that's visceral, that's meaty, that you can sink your teeth into. Visceral impact. Tight and quick. It is tight and quick. Start and stop with the hammer fast. It is the velvet hammer at quick speed and articulate nature. Okay. You can think of maybe a kick drum, that someone does where the drum has a blanket inside, right? It's different than if you take the blanket out. It's a boom, 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 right? Like hitting a big old, drum in the marching band, okay? That's kind of flabby. Visceral impact, visceral impact typically more quick, start and stop. Dynamic, it is dynamic punch. It is something that can shock you. Boom. It happens many times it happens in orchestral music. It'll include timpani. It'll include a big swell and then a boom, boom. And it's like, boom. And that thing hits and whoa, it hits you. You kind of go, it's kind of shocking inside. It's not, you know what I mean? You all know what I'm talking about. That's visceral impact because it just, scared you a little bit, shocked you a little bit. Within that, there's dynamic shading. So dynamic shading is the difference between that boom, shock, and then the piccolo, like the little stuff, and everything in between. You're going to have shades of the dynamic. Some things, crunk, 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 strings are going to be right in the middle. They boom, 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 boom. So they have this tonality, but they have a boom, 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 which is percussive element. So dynamic shading is what makes music populate with musical features or sonic features rather than just a flow of a smear of sound. Okay, a non-audiophile rig will it's just like pouring water out of a bucket or out of a pitcher. It's just gonna have a flow, a smear of sound. It's not gonna have our next point, which I'll segue into, is dimensionality. This is dimensionality. Piano should lay back. Most of the time, piano's in the background. It's not something that's right up in your face. When Elton John is playing piano, there should be a dink, there should be a dink. I just said there should be a dink. There should be a dink. If when Elton John plays piano, there should be a distinct separation between his vocal and piano. Now, vocal and piano are many times in the same frequency range. In a cheap system, even if you're at the same frequencies, they will sound blended together. You don't want that. You want a distinct difference between vocal and piano when Elton John is playing or somebody else. Who's the other one, man? Amy Winehouse was good at. You want that vocal to peel off the background, right? There should be layering and depth to the music where you can clearly hear instrument placement. You should be able to hear the layers. It should be depth. You should hear the vocal back, forward, or up front. You should hear the drums at the back. They should not be up front in your face. And there is, of course, that, you know, a good mix helps that, and a good mastering. But you should have a well-defined soundstage. Your instrument placement should be well-defined in your sonic soundstage. The soundstage, what people say, well, what's a soundstage? What does that mean? The soundstage is your sonic palette, okay? So this is like, imagine that right in front of you, when you listen to your stereo system, it's a huge canvas painting. It is the blank canvas from which music emanates. That is your soundstage. The more limitless that soundstage is, the better. So you want it to go as deep as infinity, as past you as infinity, and as far side to the sideways as infinity. That's ideal, is to have infinity in every direction. Okay, almost to be like you're floating in space and you've got infinity up, down, everywhere, and there's endless. That would be the ideal sound system, right? You don't want it confined. The more confined it is, the more it doesn't sound real, you know, because real life is just shit goes out into the air, infinity, right? It goes out into space or whatever, you know? So this canvas, you want it to have dimensionality. There is a difference between a Joan Miró, if you guys know painters, think of a Joan Miró and a Rembrandt, okay? A Miró is very two-dimensional. It's red, it's yellow, it's black, it's very two-dimensional, gives a very two-dimensional feeling. A Rembrandt, right, is going to be, it's going to look like a photograph, right? It's going to have texture, it's going to have layering of light, it's going to have dimensionality, it's going to have sense and color and depth and tone and organicness and dynamics of light, and there's so much more complex than, say, a Joan Miró, which is just like a brush, you know, with different colors and kind of different shapes. Very different. Doesn't mean one is wrong or one is right. But typically in hi-fi, we are creating the Rembrandt. We are creating that picture realism. We want realism with dimensionality. Now, here's some key things to live. I'm going too long, but this is Christmas juice, man. I'm giving you some Christmas juice for the new year. So in 2024, you can buy your forever rig, which we talked about. It is much easier. Here's a good thing. I'm going to give you the last couple points are going to be words to live by. One, it is much easier to create this connection to music from extracting detail than it is to reduce glare or aggressiveness. If your system is already aggressive, you've gone past the line. To pull it back, you're just going to mask things. You're just going to mask and dull things. You have to remove stuff. You have to dull it. You don't want to do that. You want to start the other end. You want to start with something that is on the musical side that you extract the detail from. And I will tell you how to do that. This is part of the art of what I do as when I set up your rig. I know how to extract the detail. I know how to create it so that it comes from darkness and you have a black three-dimensional vacuum of space and then music emanates and populates out into it, rather than having something that is like you have to try and tame. If your system's aggressive, you've already gone too far. You need to, and you can try and band-aid it, but that is never the way you want to do it. You always want to start from the other end and pull the detail out. Because if you dull the sonic and you have to dull it out, you're killing the life, okay? You're killing the life by taming a hot rig, okay? We call it hot when it's in the red. That means shit is too much. It's your rig's too hot, man. It's too sharp. It's too hot, man. Chill that thing back, okay? To chill it back, if you're in the studio, hot is a recording term, right? If you're in the studio, you dial the knobs back and you EQ it out, or you pull back the gain, or you do whatever you need to do. The levels come back to bring it out of the red. You can't do that in hi-fi. Gain is different than volume. Oh, that's another video. But you really want to start the other way, extract the detail, because here is the I'm going to tell you right now something that is going to be the Om Guru words of this whole message. Your experience when listening must be alive with music, not like listening to live music. This is a huge misconception. People think we're trying to create live music. We can't create live music. There's no way to do that because the person's freaking they're doing divine creation in front of our very own eyes, and we're experiencing divine creation. You cannot do that without a human doing it. So we are reproducing it. We're not trying to reproduce the live event. That would be a futile pursuit. We want our experience to be alive with the music. So the music is like an alive thing that we are engaging with. It is an open storybook. It's like a magic storybook. We open that book and three-dimensional little birdies and things fly out and butterflies and little unicorns and shit. Whatever, man. It's fantasy. Maybe it's dark demons and whatever. And just, it's a beautiful, fantastic world. And we want it to come alive when we open that storybook, when we turn on our audio system. We don't want to be stuck in, well, how good is the printing in this book? Are the half tones all right in the ink? You know, that sucks, man, to be stuck in analysis paralysis. So hopefully you guys understand. So many people think that being an audiophile is about analysis paralysis, and I did for a long time. I realized through much introspection and much pondering about what is going on in the room, what do I enjoy? I've come to these truths, and that's what I'm sharing with you guys. I've gone overboard, but I'm giving you more because it's the holidays, and I'm giving you some Christmas gifts, some Hanukkah presents, some holiday cheer, okay? So thanks for joining. Time for me to go go-kart racing. I will see you later. See you.